Hello everybody, it's ShadowSlayerX, and we're going to continue our Dungeons & Dragons project. Let's see if I can make this a bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so the next step in our progression through this slow slog is the gods and goddesses. So yes, I've pretty much for sure want a world with gods and goddesses. I do want a world with gods and goddesses. So, but there are different types of gods and goddesses. Like, I have a couple examples up here. So, pantheons. Pantheons in real life are like the Norse pantheon, which is Odin, Freya, Tyr, Thor, all that kind of stuff. Egyptian, a lot. Let's see. We got Ra, we have Anubis, we have Sobek, we have Set, we have Bast. A couple names are jumping into my head, but I think they're like Egyptian pharaohs, not gods. But yeah, then there's the Celtic gods. Let's see, how many can I name? Manannán, Maclear, Brihid, shoot, I used to know a lot more. Oh, this is terrible. Yeah. I do know that they're like little they live in Tir na Nog, I know that much. And that they live in the land of the Fae, with the fairies and all that stuff. Then there's Greek and Roman. I put them together because Roman, in my personal opinion, is just a copy of Greek. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Romans copied Greeks, but the Greek ones are the ones I'm using as examples. I'll scroll down a bit so we can see. There we go. So yeah. But actually, no, why am I scrolling down? I'm not done. I was just going over the brief overview. So, for instance, we got some names here. Some you'll recognize, some you might not. Then we have, like, one true god. So, in real-life examples, I just lumped Christian, Jewish, and Muslim together because they have one god. Like, I'm not trying to get all up in all this, but there's, like, one true god, right? And then in fictional world, the only one I could think of, like, off the top of my head was the Lord of Light from Game of Thrones. I think there's also the many-faced god, but I don't know if he's a one true god kind of thing. I don't think the many-faced god, if he is a god in Game of Thrones, is like that. Then we have elder beings, so like Cthulhu and so things that are like not of this world kind of thing, or they like predate mankind by like millennia or thousands of years or whatever. Then old gods. So I know World of Warcraft had like the old gods kind of thing. Game of Thrones definitely has them. Oh, why do I have Skype open? Alright, go away. I need to be do not disturb. There we are. Okay. Yeah, I think in World of Warcraft the old gods, I think if I remember correctly, take the form of animals, or like they are animals, which kind of meshes with the next one, which is spirit gods. So in real life, like natives believe in great spirit, or great spirits, or animal spirits, and I always thought that was really cool too. But now I'm not going to limit my world to, well, all the gods are in this one pantheon, or there's one true, like, I like how Game of Thrones did it, where they had, for those who don't know Game of Thrones, I'll try to explain everything as I go. So quickly I'll go over Lord of Light. He is basically a fire god, very known for fire, and the color red is associated almost with every single that's my text. Everyone is bugging me. Alright. Yeah, so that's associated with red and fire, and yeah, but it's really intense because like they burn people at the stake for favor with the god. And in the show, it's debatable if the god actually did anything, or if, because you never see the Lord of Light. It's all like the priests and priestesses read or interpret through the flame, like they look into fire to interpret the future kind of stuff, or they get visions or directions or whatever. So yeah, think of that as you will. The old gods in Game of Thrones, they are represented by these weirwood trees, which are picture like a birch tree, which is white bark, with red leaves, like always red, like they don't change. I don't think they even fall during winter, and they're called weirwood trees. I don't know if I said that. And I think they used to be, oh man, my knowledge is so bad. I think they used to be tended by the children of the forest, who are like these little magical demon elf things. They're in the show. They're later in the show. And then yeah, and then also Game of Thrones has a pantheon of their own called the Seven, and the Seven is like a group of these traits, which I can now scroll down to. These traits like knowledge, beauty, love, all that stuff. So in Game of Thrones, it's the Seven, and I think it's like the Mother, the Warrior, the Crone, the Stranger, the Smith. I'm not sure. Something like it's like that, and they all have a couple traits stuff. So I used the Greek pantheon to get some ideas flowing in your head. Now, these are grouped in the way the Greek gods saw them. When we make our own gods, we don't have to be bound to any of these things. So, for instance, we could take the god of love. We can take love out, mix it with, so we could have a man who's the god of love and the god of the underworld and the god of writing. Like, we can merge how many or how little we want together. Like, if we want a pantheon of like 18, like you can split it up any way you want. If you want a god of like, if you want a pantheon of 5, you might want to spread them out just between. And it's very interesting, the familial, like the family connections between the gods. Like, I didn't put this in there because it's kind of confusing for the Greeks, because like Zeus has sisters and brothers, and then but Zeus kind of has sex with everyone ish, all the women and animals of the world. Like, it's crazy. So but yeah, I was thinking, like, for the pantheon, if we are going to make a pantheon like that, that we can have like a smaller group of gods that are more powerful, and then they can have offspring, like demigods, who are in the eyes of men gods themselves, and they would have less abilities but different abilities. So for instance, if we had someone like Aphrodite here, let's see, she's the goddess of womanly beauty, love, desire, and pleasure, or whatever. It doesn't cover like everything. Like down here, other traits. Why is love down here a second time? Like attraction and some others, or like attraction, sleep, dreams. Like her daughter, like, or son, or whatever, could even have a copy. Like, he's also the god of desire, blah, 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 but then also give him sleep and dreams and heavens and stuff, like different abilities, right? But you don't want to load him up too much, because unless you want it in a story to be like, this god is always testing his mother because he is that powerful. So like, it's a little dichotomy there. It's a little back and forth, but yeah. So let's just quickly go over different traits and powers that the Greek gods had. So like I already went over, Aphrodite, womanly beauty, love, desire, pleasure. Apollo, the god of music, arts, knowledge, healing, plague, prophecy, poetry, manly beauty. A lot of crap there. Ares, very famous, god of war, but there's also another god of war. So in the wiki I read, he is the god of chaotic war, basically, which goes into his other little things here, which is bloodshed and violence. Artemis, hunt, wilderness, animals, young girls. Now childbirth is interesting because she is known as a virgin. She is a virgin god. Take that as you will, aka she was never defiled, or she has the power to like remain a virgin. I don't know how that works, but it's fantasy. Well, in our world it'd be fantasy, so we could do whatever the heck we wanted. And also plague comes up again. So if I think Apollo and Artemis were twins, like, so that's interesting. I think they both have bows and arrows as well. Athena, wisdom, intelligence, skill, peace, warfare, which is war, battle strategy, and handicrafts. So like you have some like major stuff with Athena, like wisdom and intelligence. No one else is a god of that. Skill, just like plain skill of, and that's so all encompassing. Like skill is everything. Like, you know what I mean? So it's very interesting. Peace also goes with warfare a little bit. Peace also goes with battle strategy. Handicrafts is like a little extra thing, but I think a couple other people also have handicrafts. Dionysus, I think his Roman form is much more known, which is Bacchus. Wine, fruitfulness, parties, festivals, madness, chaos, drunkenness, vegetation, and ecstasy. Hades, very well known. Doesn't have very many like domains he's known under, besides these huge ones, which is the underworld and the dead themselves. We've seen this played out in so many different Hercules type shows and spin-offs, and personally one of my favorites. Love Hades. Also Hephaestus. I'm not sure if Hephaestus is very well known, but I used to watch Xena Warrior Princess back in the day, and Hephaestus was known for making the only weapons able to kill gods, which always to me like made me think like he could, like, if he ever wanted to, he could be the most powerful god, because if he increased his own battle skills or whatever, he could unseat Zeus or something like that, you know what I mean? But I think his demeanor and like how he acted, he was like humble and kind of stuff, so like he wouldn't do that. But that's the thing, like in our world we can mix any of these together any way we want and make any cool stuff. Hera, famously known as the wife of Zeus, goddess of marriage, women, childbirth, heirs, kings, which kind of works together. It's like if you pray to Hera to give you an heir, like childbirth, women, blah blah blah, it all kind of works together. But kings and empires is huge. So she has one section here, but like a humongous section over here as well. Hermes, boundaries, travel, communication, trade, language, writing. Hestia, hearth, home, and chastity. A lot of people probably haven't heard of Hestia, but these are important. Like the common like we always see in movies and stuff, it's like warriors are praying, or kings, or you know what I mean. But like peasants and stuff, they'll pray to Hestia for like Hestia and oh, did I already mention? Someone has agriculture, don't they? I thought they did. Maybe did I go over it? Yeah, Demeter. Yeah, Demeter. So Demeter and Hestia would kind of go hand in hand, because like you want a good harvest, or you want stuff to go better at home and stuff like that. Poseidon, very famous. Sea, rivers, floods, droughts, and earthquakes. And Zeus, sky, weather, thunder, lightning, law, order, and justice. That's a lot of huge domains he's got there. So, and then underneath, I think there were like they were talking about the Titans and a bunch of other things. So I tried to glean what I could off that. So we have God of atmosphere, light, inevitability, compulsion, necessity, time, huge one, darkness, shadow, attraction, sleep, Islands was an interesting one. Heavens was an interesting. Mountains make sense, like especially in a D&D world with dwarves and other stuff. Fish and sea creatures, because I think there was god of animals, but it didn't cover everything. Day, night, retribution, sun, moon, memory I think I added. Dreams I think I added. Clouds, stars, planets, dusk, dawn, mortality. This made me remember of at some point in the middle of my Yu-Gi-Oh card collecting, there was like a set of like cloud cards, like Cloudians I think they were called. They're actually kind of interesting at the time, but it made me think of like cloud golems and stuff, like how would you kill a cloud golem? Something like that, or like cloud folk. I don't know. See, back to races, like would cloud folk be a thing? I don't know. Or maybe cloud folk would exist, but they only service the god of cloud. You know what I mean? Who has clouds as one of his domains? I don't know. Now, in the Greek culture, a lot of them had symbols. I didn't want to write down everything, so I just wrote down a few. So Aphrodite was roses, wreath, and the shell she's famous for, like, riding in or on. Apollo, the laurel wreath, like things that rest on their head, and the lyre, which is a musical instrument, which is also in D&D, I think. Hades, Cerberus, three-headed dog, who guards the underworld. I didn't write down who this is. It's Hermes, has the winged sandals and traveler's cap. Kind of looks like the Flash a little bit. And then like what they're known for wearing for weapons and armor, like spear, sword, shield, Artemis bow and arrow. Athena is known for being like born fully armored. Hades has a helmet that makes ta wearer invisible. Yeah. Now, one other thing, that a lot of them had sacred animals. I didn't want to write that down because some of them were like long lists for just one guy or girl. And so, in my world, which I've done a couple, I made up five head gods, not demigods. I'm not going to use these, but they're like examples for you guys. But yeah, so before I get into the animal thing, I'm gonna. So what I was thinking was that all gods in our world will have the ability to be. They'll be immortal, immortal, and I'm like I said before. I really like the idea of only being killed by weapons made of a god, basically. They all have teleportation, like true teleportation, like anywhere they want. I want to give them the power of astral projection as well, because, well, not that all of them would use it, especially like they think they're immortal, like they don't think they would ever be in trouble. But if some were more like, if like for instance our god of the underworld or whatever might be suspicious that he has enemies or whatever, he might want to astral project. So that's something I want them all to have. The ability to personally be affected by weather and temperature. So pretty much they can wear whatever they want in any situation, which to their leisure or if they want to be in battle, right? So like they can choose, if they want, that raindrops don't land on them ever, or like severe cold doesn't affect them, or like their body is running so hot that if someone touches them it burns them. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then of course I want them all to have like crazy strength, like more than a man has. Like for instance, if there's like the god of hearth and agriculture and all that stuff, like if someone goes to like, say if there's some man who's being brutish towards her as she appears and like uses her powers to like make a field grow or something, and a rival farmer comes and like goes to smack her, she'll be able to like grab his hand and like crush and like break his wrist and be like and then like walk over to his field and like make it bare. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So okay. None of this is cemented. These were just ideas I threw out there. So Calder, human male, god of war, god of earth and forests. And I wanted all my gods to have an animal form. So they are known at like if they were to have pendants or statues or whatever. They could have the human form, or they could pray to the bear, like a bear trinket or something like that. So appears lightly armored with a melee and ranged weapon, but at a whim he can become fully armored, armed to the teeth, with any weapon he desires. Because I wanted him to be like this god, this master god of war. He can he can walk and materialize whatever armor he wants: light armor, heavy armor, plate armor, like anything he wants, and he can like create any weapon. And then I tried to add like extra things to him, so like he would be confident, but sometimes overconfident. And then I tried to get into his powers a little bit. So since he's the god of like earth and all that stuff, I said he can manipulate dirt, rock, clay, wood, and plants. So that covers these two. He's excellent and proficient with any weapon, and learns incredibly quick to use invented or unique weapons that like he's never seen before or were created. Well, obviously everything created after yeah, so anytime he comes into like new weapons. Now if I were to add stuff, I'd probably say like he's also god of forest animals, maybe like forest animals, or insects below the earth. You know, I would throw on extra stuff. I do like the idea of not giving him battle strategy. I would just like him to be I would also add maybe he has the power to inspire troops, or if I added like bloodshed like Ares has, he can initiate a bloodlust in like he would have an aura of bloodlust, or he could cast like some sort of spell of bloodlust over all of them. So that's what I would do with Calder. Smiv, a tiefling male, god of poison, darkness, and death. His animal form is the basilisk. If anyone doesn't know what a basilisk is, it's like it's a serpent, sometimes known for having four or six legs, sometimes none. But its main trait is that if it looks you dead in the eye, it can petrify you and turn you to stone. So I wanted that to be his animal form. He appears as a noble, but so like a noble tiefling, but his true form is skeletal with black robes. So when he appears in the normal world, he'll probably look like a human male with a beard and very fine clothing, but his true form is like the skeletal tiefling, so that means horns and the tail, with black robes. He can create poison or taint an object by touching it or pointing at it. He can become invisible or look like anyone he wishes. So I could have added god of deception, stuff like that. Oh yeah, the stat blocks, and totally forgot. So yes, god of stealth, stuff like that. Can create a black mist to obscure vision or spread disease. Can control the undead. Can manipulate bones of the dead. So I thought that was cool. Yeah. Morgula, an elven female god of agriculture, the seas, ocean, water. I would add rivers and all that other crap, and youth. Her animal form is the otter. Appears as an older woman in nice robes and uses a staff to walk, but can appear at any age she pleases. So she is known for being an older woman, so probably elderly woman. But she could probably tempt people, like god of or temptress god, you know what I mean? Like she could appear as a very young woman, or she can appear as a child to try to size somebody up, you know. Can manipulate water, enlarge, reduce the size of fruits and vegetables, can make crops grow or wither instantly, can prevent growth in an area or make the land more lush, the soil more rich, etc. I would add a bunch of extra water stuff. I would add god of fish, sea creatures, stuff like that. I would even maybe add god of waterborne travel, stuff like that. Nox Moderis, dragon male. I didn't say dragonborn because I wanted it to be an actual dragon, but we could have dragon. I think dragonborn would be interesting more as a demigod. So he's a god of wind, ice, and cold, and thunder. His animal form is the eagle. So it's a dragon who can turn into like like when he doesn't want to scare the crap out of everyone as a giant dragon, he could turn into an eagle. So, because yeah, he's a gargantuan-sized dragon with multicolor scales, silver, white, green, bronze, and copper. Has an so that's important when you look up the monster manual of 5e and read the different types of dragons. He has an oversized dragonborn form with tail intact and wings, and a halfling form. So I wanted this guy he can appeal to a lot of people because he's super powerful. He can create gusts of wind that could crumble castles, can breathe ice beams and blasts that could be never melting ice if he desired, can shoot force blasts from his mouth, eyes, and hands. He can bring winter to a place for as long as he desires. Yeah. So thunder in Dungeons & Dragons 5e is basically force, like force damage. So, yeah. And then the last one I had is ShadowSlayerX, the dragon female, god of fire, lightning, and acid. The animal form is a nightmare. To those who don't know what a nightmare is, in D&D, there's like this ritual that has to be done where it's an evil ritual, where you slaughter a Pegasus and you like rip off its wings, I think. Or I don't know if you slaughter it, but like you capture a Pegasus, you cut off its wings, you do this ceremony, and it becomes this basically flying horse where its mane and tail are fire, and I think its hooves also are light. Like it still has like it's like cloven feet, but they're also on fire, and it has the ability to fly and travel between planes. In D&D it's planes. So I thought, and it's like one of my favorite flying mounts in any game. Like basically, if people who play World of Warcraft and you do the Halloween event, the Headless Horseman rides a nightmare. Basically, I love it, love it. That was before like they had all the different flying horses. It used to be the only one that could fly without wings, I believe. Anyway, ShadowSlayerX is a gargantuan-sized dragon with multicolored scales. Now I went different ones. We got black, blue, brass, red, and gold. I think that covered the whole spectrum, or most of it. Yeah. Has a normal-sized dragonborn and a gnome form. Can bring thunderstorms, floods to a place for as long as she desires. Can create drought for as long as she desires. Can breathe fire and lightning and shoot fire and lightning from her eyes and hands. And I would go into more detail, like maybe it could be the god of hearth as well, you know, just so that's not all destruction, destruction, destruction. And I didn't really add anything about acid, but like it could, like ShadowSlayerX could probably like poison a water supply, stuff like that. But I wanted ShadowSlayerX to be this badass dragon, but also be known for her goodness. I didn't write that down, but yeah. Anyway, those were 5 that I created. I think it's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Those were 5 I created. I'd love for you guys to create your own and send me gods that you come up with. Yeah. Yeah, so any gods that you come up with, just send them to my email, or even just post them in the comments. I read everything. I try to respond to everything that I can. And I know this is probably coming out a lot slower for some, and for others, like, why am I doing this? Once again, I'm trying to create a world for the kids that I work with. I work at a youth emergency shelter for homeless boys, or like homeless youth boys who could use a little more fun and excitement. So, yeah. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Now, I only made a pantheon. Remember, you can make one true god, elder beings, old gods, spirit gods, or something of your own creation. Like, I'm all ears. Like, there's no wrong answer here. There's, like, the worst thing I'll ever do is say, like, I might pass on your idea. Like, I'm not gonna flame you unless you do something like very offensive, you know. Then that's kind of obvious. So anyway, I've been ShadowSlayerX. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tip if you're feeling generous to the new potentially expensive computer I want to purchase, but who knows. So this was the Gods and Goddesses section, and we'll see you next time. Peace.